Hello, and welcome to English in Fluency. I'm your host, Alex, and I am so glad you are here with me today. Do you ever feel stuck in your English learning journey? Maybe you listen to a podcast, or you watch a movie, and you understand some words, but not all of them. You want to speak, but you are afraid. You are afraid of making a mistake. You are afraid that your pronunciation is not perfect, or that your grammar is not correct. You wait for that perfect moment, that perfect sentence, to come to your mind, but it doesn't come. And so, you stay silent. Does this sound like you? If it does, I want you to know that you are not alone. This is perhaps the single biggest problem that I see with English learners, especially at your level, the B1 intermediate level. You have learned so much. You know grammar rules, you have a good vocabulary, but you are trapped. You are trapped by an idea. And that idea is perfection. Today, we are going to talk about this trap. We are going to do a lot of listening practice. This entire session is designed to help you, to help your ears get used to the sounds and the rhythm of English. But more importantly, we are going to change your mindset. We are going to replace that dangerous idea of perfection with a much more powerful, much more helpful idea. That idea is progress. Today is not about being perfect. Today is about being a little bit better than you were yesterday. It's about learning, and it's about growing one day at a time. This is a B1 listening practice, but it is also a lesson in how to learn, how to live, and how to enjoy the journey. So please, relax. Take a deep breath. You don't need to understand every single word I say. That is not the goal. The goal is to listen, to absorb, and to focus on this one simple idea. Progress, not perfection. Let's think about this word, perfection. What does it mean? It means 100% correct, no mistakes, no errors. It's beautiful, but it is also impossible. It is impossible in life, and it is especially impossible in learning a language. When you focus on perfection, you are focusing on the end result. You are focusing on a goal that is so far away. It feels like you can never reach it. And when you make a mistake, and you will make mistakes, because mistakes are a normal part of learning, you feel terrible. You feel like a failure. You feel like you are not good enough. This feeling, this fear of failure, is what stops you. It stops you from speaking. It stops you from trying. It stops you from growing. You become like a person standing at the edge of a swimming pool, wanting to swim, but afraid to get wet. You are so focused on swimming perfectly, like an Olympic champion, that you never even jump in the water. Now let's think about the other word. Progress. What does this word mean? Progress means moving forward. It means small steps. It means today you understand one more word than you did yesterday. Today, you can say one more sentence, even if it's not a perfect sentence. Progress is not about the destination, it is about the journey. It is about the small daily actions you take. It's about the effort, not the result. When you focus on progress, you celebrate the small wins. You made a mistake in grammar? That's fantastic. Why? Because you tried. You spoke. And that mistake taught you something. You learned what not to do. That mistake is progress. When you focus on progress, you are not afraid to jump in the pool. You know you will not swim perfectly at first. You will splash. You will drink some water. But you are in the pool. You are moving. You are learning. And every single day, you get a little bit stronger, a little bit more confident. You are learning and growing every single day. This is the mindset I want you to have. This is the foundation for everything we do here at English in Fluency. We are a community of learners who are not afraid to make mistakes. We are a community that celebrates effort. We are a community focused on progress. So, to help us understand this idea, this very important idea, I am going to tell you a story. This is our B1 listening practice for today. It's a story about a woman named Sarah. As you listen, don't worry about understanding every word. Just try to follow the general idea. Try to feel the emotions of the story. Try to understand the journey of the main character. After the story, we will talk about it. We will look at some vocabulary. We will check your understanding. But for now, just listen, relax, and let the story begin. Sarah was an accountant. Her world was made of numbers, spreadsheets, and rules. Everything had a place. Everything had to be correct. A single mistake, a single number in the wrong place, could cause a big problem. Sarah was very, very good at her job. She was precise, she was careful, and she was, in her own way, a perfectionist. Her desk was always clean. Her pencils were always sharp. Her reports were always perfect. She liked the feeling of control, the feeling of knowing that everything was right. But sometimes, when she looked out the window of her office at the blue sky and the green trees in the park far below, she felt that something was missing. Her life was perfect, but it was also a little gray. It was like a spreadsheet, all lines and boxes, with no color. One Saturday afternoon, Sarah was walking through the city. She didn't have a plan. She was just walking. She passed a small art gallery. In the window, there was a painting. It was not a painting of a person or a place. It was just color. Bright, beautiful, wild color. Swirls of deep blue, flashes of bright yellow, and a powerful warm red in the center. It was the opposite of her spreadsheets. It was messy. It was emotional. It was beautiful. Sarah stood in front of that painting for a long time. She felt something she had not felt in years. She felt inspired. She thought to herself, I want to do that. I want to make something beautiful. I want to create. That very afternoon, Sarah went to the art supply store. Because she was Sarah, she did not just buy a few things. She bought everything. She bought the most expensive paints, the finest brushes made from squirrel hair, and 3 large professional canvases stretched perfectly white. She bought a heavy wooden easel to hold the canvas. She bought books on color theory and how to paint like the great masters. She spent hundreds of dollars. She carried it all home to her small, clean apartment. She set up the easel in her living room. She put the blank white canvas on the easel. She opened her new paints. She looked at the brushes. She was ready. She was going to be a painter. She was going to create a masterpiece. And then she stopped. She looked at the blank canvas. It was so white, so perfect. What if she ruined it? What if she put the wrong color in the wrong place? She picked up a brush. Her hand was shaking. She looked at the painting in the gallery in her mind. That perfect, emotional swirl of color. How did the artist do that? She looked at her own blank canvas. It was terrifying. It was a big, white, empty space that demanded perfection. She put the brush down. She told herself, I will start tomorrow. I need to read the books first. I need to understand the rules. So, Sarah read. She read about technique. She read about perspective. She read about the history of art. A week passed. The easel stood in her living room. The blank canvas stared at her. The expensive paints remained closed. Sarah, the accountant, she was afraid of making a mistake. She was afraid of creating something that was not perfect. The idea of making a mess, of failing, was so strong that she could not even begin. She felt frustrated. She felt angry at herself. Why was this so hard? It was just paint and a piece of cloth. But to her, it was a test. A test she was sure she would fail. Another week passed. The canvas was now covered in a thin layer of dust. Sarah felt a deep sense of disappointment. She had wanted color, and her life was still gray. One sunny Sunday, she decided to go for a walk in the park, the same park she looked at from her office window. She needed to get away from the accusing white canvas in her living room. The park was full of people. Children were laughing, dogs were running. Sarah found a quiet bench and sat down. Not far from her, under a large oak tree, an old man was painting. He had a small, messy box of paints. His easel was old and wooden. He was painting the tree. Sarah watched him. He was not painting like the masters in her books. He was fast. He was messy. He used a strange brush. He hummed a little tune as he worked. He seemed to be having fun. Sarah felt a little brave. She got up and slowly walked over to him. "Excuse me," she said. The man looked up. He had kind, wrinkled eyes and a white beard. "That's a beautiful painting." The man smiled. "Oh, thank you," he said, in a warm, gentle voice. "But it's not the tree. It's just my feeling of the tree." Sarah looked at his painting. The tree trunk was purple. The leaves were bright orange. It was not correct. It was not perfect. But it was alive. It was full of joy. I bought some paints," Sarah said, suddenly. "I want to be a painter, but I can't start. I'm afraid." The man looked at her, then at her clean clothes and her tidy hair. He seemed to understand. "Ah," he said, nodding. "You are afraid of the white canvas." "Yes," Sarah whispered. "I'm afraid of ruining it. I'm afraid it won't be good." The man's name was Mr. Hedges. He chuckled. "Perfection is a cage, my dear. A beautiful, shiny cage, but it is still a cage. You are not trying to make a masterpiece. A masterpiece is just an accident. It's the one painting out of 1,000 that works. You are trying to learn. And learning is messy. Learning is the mistakes." He pointed to his own painting. "You see this purple trunk? I know tree trunks are brown. But I felt purple. So I painted purple. Maybe it's a mistake. Maybe it's genius. Who cares? I had fun. I put paint on a canvas. I made something. You have made nothing." Sarah felt a little hurt, but she knew he was right. "So what do I do?" she asked. "Go home," Mr. Hedges said. "Take your big, expensive canvas off the easel. Put it in the closet. Go back to the store and buy a stack of cheap cardboard. $10. Buy one small, cheap brush. And one bottle of cheap black paint." Sarah was confused. "Black paint?" "Yes, black paint. And I want you to go home, put a piece of cardboard on your expensive easel, and I want you to paint 100 lines, just lines. Fast lines, slow lines, thick lines, thin lines. Don't try to make a painting. Just make lines. I want you to ruin that cardboard. I want you to make a mess. I want you to learn what the brush feels like in your hand. I want you to stop thinking and start doing." Sarah was an accountant. This was a strange instruction. It was not in any of her books. But she had seen the man's joyful orange leaves. She was desperate. So she did it. She went to the store. She bought cheap cardboard, a cheap brush, and one bottle of black paint. She went home. She took the perfect, terrifying white canvas off the easel and hid it in her closet. She felt a little guilty. She put the flimsy piece of cardboard on the easel. It looked silly. "This is stupid," she thought. But she opened the black paint. She dipped the cheap brush in, and she made a line. The first line was careful. It was straight. It was an accountant's line. Mr. Hedges's voice was in her head. "Make a mess." She made another line. This one was curved. She made another, and another. She painted fast. The paint splashed. It got on her hands. It got on the easel. She was making a mess. She painted zigzags. She painted swirls. She painted dots. The cardboard was a disaster of black lines. And Sarah? Sarah was smiling. She was laughing. It was fun. Her arm was tired. The paint was gone. The cardboard was ruined. It was the most beautiful thing she had ever made. She went back to the park the next week. Mr. Hedges was there. "I did it," she said. "I made a mess." He smiled. "Good. How did it feel?" "It felt wonderful." "Good," he said. "Now, go home. Buy one more color. Buy a bottle of red. And this week, I want you to paint circles. Black circles, red circles, circles inside circles, just circles. Fill 10 pieces of cardboard with circles. Don't try to make a painting. Just explore the circles." And so, this became their routine. Every week, Mr. Hedges gave Sarah a new, small, simple task. One week, it was squares. Another week, it was paint this leaf. But she was only allowed to use blue paint. Another week, he told her to mix yellow and red together to see how many different kinds of orange she could make. He never asked her to paint a masterpiece. He never asked her to paint a person or a house. He just asked her to do small, simple, messy things. He was teaching her how to play. He was teaching her how to focus on the process, not the product Sarah was changing. Her apartment was still clean, but her living room was now a happy, colorful mess. There were stacks of cardboard paintings against the wall. There were smudges of paint on the floor. And Sarah was happier. She painted every single day. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to. She loved the smell of the paint. She loved the feeling of the brush. She loved the magic of mixing two colors to create a new one. She was learning. One day, months later, Mr. Hedges came to her apartment. She had invited him for tea. He looked around the living room. It was filled with her work. There were hundreds of pieces of cardboard, circles, lines, squares, leaves. And then he saw it. In the corner. It was the big, expensive canvas. It was not white anymore. It was covered in color. It was a painting of the park. The tree trunks were purple. The leaves were orange. The sky was a swirling, joyful blue. It was not perfect. The perspective was a little strange. The colors were not realistic. But it was beautiful. It was full of life. It was full of Sarah. "When did you do this?" Mr. Hedges asked, pointing to the large painting. Sarah blushed. "Oh, that. I don't know. Last week, I think. I just wanted to see what would happen if I used all the colors." Mr. Hedges looked at the painting, and then he looked at Sarah. He had a big smile on his face. "Well, look at that," he said softly. "You were so busy learning how to paint, you accidentally created a masterpiece." Sarah looked at the painting. A masterpiece? No. It was just her painting. She saw all the mistakes. The purple was too dark here. The line was wobbly there. "It's not perfect," she said. Mr. Hedges put his arm around her shoulder. "No," he said. "It's not perfect. It's much better than that. It's progress. It's yours." Sarah looked at the painting, and for the first time, she did not see the mistakes, she saw the journey. She saw the hundreds of lines, the hundreds of circles. She saw the joy. She saw the fun. She saw the messy, wonderful, imperfect process of learning. And she smiled. She was not an accountant who painted. She was a painter. That is the end of our story. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you were able to follow along. How do you feel? Do you feel relaxed? Do you feel a little bit like Sarah? Maybe you see your own English journey in her painting journey. Let's take a few minutes to think about this story. This is our practice. Let's check our comprehension. And then, let's talk about what this story means for us as English learners. First, let's do a little comprehension check. I will ask some questions about the story. I will pause, giving you time to think of the answer. Then, I will give you the answer. This is a great way to check if you understood the main ideas. Are you ready? Question 1. What was Sarah's job at the beginning of the story? Pause. Her job was an accountant. She worked with numbers and rules. Question 2. Why was Sarah's job important to the story? Pause. It was important because it showed she was a perfectionist. She liked things to be correct and perfect, with no mistakes. Question 3. What did Sarah see in the art gallery window? Pause. She saw a painting. It was not a realistic painting. It was full of bright, wild color. Question 4. When Sarah first bought her art supplies, why couldn't she start painting? Pause. She couldn't start because she was afraid of the blank canvas. She was afraid of making a mistake, of ruining it. She was afraid her painting would not be perfect. Question 5. Who did Sarah meet in the park? Pause. She met an old man who was painting. His name was Mr. Hedges. Question 6. What was Mr. Hedges's painting of the tree like? Pause. It was not correct or perfect. The tree trunk was purple, and the leaves were orange. But it was joyful and alive. Question 7. What was Mr. Hedges's first instruction for Sarah? What did he tell her to buy? Pause. He told her to hide her expensive canvas and to buy cheap cardboard, 1 cheap brush, and 1 bottle of black paint. Question 8. What was her first painting assignment? Pause. He told her to paint 100 lines. He told her to make a mess and not to try to make a painting. Question 9. How did Sarah feel after she painted the lines? Pause. She felt wonderful. She was smiling and laughing. It was fun. Question 10. At the end of the story, Sarah painted her big canvas. What did she paint? Pause. She painted a picture of the park. The tree trunks were purple, just like in Mr. Hedges's painting. Question 11. What did Mr. Hedges say about her big painting? Pause. He said it was not perfect, but it was progress. He said she was so busy learning, she accidentally created a masterpiece. How did you do? Did you get most of the answers right? Even if you only understood some of it, that is fantastic. That is progress. If you missed some, don't worry. This is not a test. It is just practice. You can always listen to the story again later. The most important thing is that you were here and you were listening. Now, let's look at some of the words and phrases from the story. This is our vocabulary practice. I will say a word, and I will explain what it means using simple English. I will also use it in a few more example sentences so you can understand it better. The first word is perfectionist. A perfectionist is a person who wants everything to be perfect. They do not like to make mistakes. Sarah was a perfectionist. In her job as an accountant, being a perfectionist was a good thing. But for her painting, being a perfectionist was a big problem. It stopped her from starting, "Are you a perfectionist when you learn English?" Another word is canvas. A canvas is the piece of cloth, usually white, that artists paint on. Sarah was afraid of the blank white canvas. She did not want to ruin the canvas. Mr. Hedges told her to put the expensive canvas in the closet. Let's look at the word frustrated. Frustrated. Frustrated is the feeling you get when you want to do something, but you cannot. You feel angry and upset. Sarah felt frustrated because she could not start painting. Many English learners feel frustrated when they cannot understand a conversation. It's a very common feeling, but it's okay to feel frustrated. It means you care. How about the word assignment? An assignment is a task or a piece of work that someone gives you to do. Your teacher at school gives you a homework assignment. Mr. Hedges gave Sarah an assignment every week. Her first assignment was to paint 100 lines. These small assignments helped her learn without pressure. Here is a great word: messy. M-E-S-S-Y. Messy is the opposite of clean and tidy. Sarah's apartment was very clean, but Mr. Hedges told her to make a mess. Painting is a messy activity. Learning is also messy. You will make mistakes. Your ideas will be confused. It's not clean. But the mess is part of the process. You have to make a mess to learn. Let's practice the word process. P-R-O-C-E-S-S. The process is the series of actions you take to achieve a result. Sarah was too focused on the result, the perfect painting. Mr. Hedges taught her to focus on the process, the fun of mixing paint, the feeling of the brush. When you learn English, you must enjoy the process. The process is the daily listening, the daily reading, the daily speaking. Don't just focus on the result of being fluent. Enjoy the process of learning. Another word is technique. T-E-C-H-N-I-Q-U-E. A technique is a special way of doing something. Sarah read books on painting technique. There are many techniques for learning vocabulary. Mr. Hedges's technique was to give small, simple tasks. How about the word inspired? I-N-S-P-I-R-E-D. When you are inspired, you get a new, exciting idea. You feel like you want to create or do something wonderful. The colorful painting in the gallery inspired Sarah. She felt inspired to become a painter. I hope that this lesson makes you feel inspired to practice your English. Here is a good phrase: to get used to. This means to become familiar with something, so it does not feel strange or difficult anymore. When you are learning to drive, you must get used to the car. In our lesson today, I said I want you to get used to the sounds of English. When you listen every day, you get used to the rhythm and speed. One more word: masterpiece. A masterpiece is a perfect piece of art. A painting, a book, or a piece of music that is an example of the artist's best work. Sarah wanted to paint a masterpiece right away. Mr. Hedges said, "A masterpiece is just an accident, the one painting out of 1,000 that works." He told her not to try to make a masterpiece. Great. That was a lot of good vocabulary. Did you know some of those words already? Maybe some were new. It doesn't matter. The important thing is that you are listening and learning. Progress, not perfection. Now, let's do a different kind of practice. This is listen and repeat practice. This will help your pronunciation, your mouth muscles, and your shadowing skills. I am going to say a short sentence from the story. I will say it clearly. I want you to listen, and then, in the pause, I want you to say the sentence out loud. Try to copy my intonation, my rhythm, and my pronunciation. Don't be shy. If you are alone, say it loudly. This is very important practice. Are you ready? Let's begin. Sentence 1. Her world was made of numbers. Pause. Her world was made of numbers. Sentence 2. She felt that something was missing. Pause. She felt that something was missing. Sentence 3. In the window, there was a painting. Pause. In the window, there was a painting. Sentence 4. Her hand was shaking. Pause. Her hand was shaking. Sentence 5. She was afraid of making a mistake. Pause. She was afraid of making a mistake. Sentence 6. Perfection is a cage, my dear. Pause. Perfection is a cage, my dear. Sentence 7. You are trying to learn, and learning is messy. Pause. You are trying to learn, and learning is messy. Sentence 8. I want you to make a mess. Pause. I want you to make a mess. Sentence 9. She painted zigzags. She painted swirls. Pause. She painted zigzags. She painted swirls. Sentence 10. And Sarah? Sarah was smiling. Pause. And Sarah? Sarah was smiling. Sentence 11. He was teaching her how to play. Pause. He was teaching her how to play. Sentence 12. She painted every single day. Pause. She painted every single day. Sentence 13. It was not perfect. It was progress. Pause. It was not perfect. It was progress. Sentence 14. She saw the messy, wonderful, imperfect process of learning. Pause. She saw the messy, wonderful, imperfect process of learning. Excellent. Wonderful job. How did that feel? Was it strange to say the words out loud? Maybe it was difficult. But that's okay. If it was difficult, it means you are learning. You are training your mouth to make new shapes, new sounds. This kind of practice, shadowing, is one of the fastest ways to improve your fluency and your accent. You are building muscle memory. You are connecting the listening part of your brain with the speaking part. You are making progress. Okay, let's do one more practice activity. This one is a listening dictation practice. I am going to say 3 sentences from the story. I will say them slowly, 3 times. If you have a pen and a piece of paper, I want you to try to write down exactly what I say. This is excellent practice for listening for details, for connecting the sounds you hear with the written words. Don't worry about spelling, just write what you hear. After you try, I will tell you the correct sentence. Are you ready? Pen and paper? Or you can just do it in your head. Dictation sentence number 1. I will say it 3 times. First time. Her life was perfect, but it was also a little gray. Second time. Her life was perfect, but it was also a little gray. Third time. Her life was perfect, but it was also a little gray. Pause. The sentence was, her life was perfect, but it was also a little gray. Dictation sentence number 2. Ready? First time. The idea of making a mess, of failing, was so strong. Second time. The idea of making a mess, of failing, was so strong. Third time. The idea of making a mess, of failing, was so strong. Pause. The sentence was, the idea of making a mess, of failing, was so strong. Dictation sentence number 3. This is the last one. First time. He taught her to focus on the process, not the product. Second time. He taught her to focus on the process, not the product. Third time. He taught her to focus on the process, not the product. Pause. The sentence was, he taught her to focus on the process, not the product. How did you do? Was that hard? Was it easy? It doesn't matter. You practiced. You listened carefully. You focused. You are training your brain. This is progress. This is the daily work. This is what learning looks like. It is not one big magical event. It is these small, consistent daily practices. Now, I want to talk about the most important part of our lesson today. I want to connect the story of Sarah the painter to you. I want to ask you a question. Why did I tell you a story about painting? You are here to learn English. I told you this story because you are Sarah. And your blank canvas, your terrifying, perfect white canvas, is the English language. Think about it. Sarah was an accountant. She liked rules. She liked things to be correct. Many English learners are just like this. You love grammar rules. You love vocabulary lists. You love to know why. This is good. It's smart. But just like Sarah, this can become a trap. You read all the grammar books. You have all the expensive paints and brushes, the apps, the courses, the books. But you are afraid to use them. You are afraid to make a mess. Your blank canvas is that moment in a conversation when it is your turn to speak. It's that empty white silence, and you are terrified of ruining it. You are afraid of using the wrong word. You are afraid of a grammar mistake. You are afraid your pronunciation will be purple, not correct. So, just like Sarah, you stay silent. You don't paint, you don't speak. You wait, thinking, I need to read more. I need to be perfect first. And the easel of your mind collects dust. Does this sound familiar? I see this every day. I see B1 students who have a huge vocabulary in their heads, who can pass any grammar test, but they cannot have a simple 5-minute conversation. Why? Because they are perfectionists. They are trapped in the cage of perfection. So, who is Mr. Hedges in this story? Mr. Hedges is the voice of progress. And today, I want to be your Mr. Hedges. I am telling you right now to stop worrying about the masterpiece. Stop worrying about speaking perfect, fluent English. That is an impossible goal for today. It's an accident that happens after 1,000 small, messy attempts, I am telling you, to go buy the cheap cardboard. I am telling you to make a mess. What does this mean for your English learning? What is the cheap cardboard for English? It is low-pressure practice. It is practice where it is safe to make mistakes. It is listening to a podcast like this, where you don't have to talk back. It is reading a simple book or a blog post. It is writing a journal for 1 minute, just for yourself, where no one will correct your grammar. What is the one bottle of black paint? It is simplicity. Stop trying to learn everything at once. Stop trying to learn 50 new words, 3 grammar rules, and perfect your R sound all in one day. It's too much. You will be like Sarah, frozen. Your assignment is to paint lines. Your assignment is to paint circles. What is the Paint 100 Lines assignment for English? Maybe it's this. Today, I will learn 1 new word. Just 1. And I will use it in a sentence. Or, today I will listen to 5 minutes of English. I will not worry about understanding. I will just listen to the music of the language. Or, today I will say 1 sentence in English out loud to myself. Maybe just, good morning. It is a beautiful day. Or, today I will write 3 things I am grateful for in English. These are your lines. These are your circles. They are small. They are simple. They are not scary. And they are not about perfection. They are about doing. They are about building a habit. They are about getting your hands messy with the paint. Sarah painted every single day. Not because she had to, but because she learned to love the process. She loved the feel of the brush and the smell of the paint. This is my biggest hope for you. I want you to stop seeing English as a test, as a big scary canvas. I want you to start seeing it as a process. I want you to learn to love the process of learning. Love the feeling of a new word in your mouth. Love the small click in your brain. When you suddenly understand a sentence you didn't understand before. Love the challenge of trying to explain a simple idea. Laugh at your mistakes. When you say, "I go to the store yesterday," and you realize it should be, "I went." Don't feel bad. Don't feel stupid. Smile and say, "Ah, a mistake. I found one. That is my purple tree trunk. I am learning. I am painting." You are at the B1 level. This is the messy middle. You are not a beginner anymore. You know a lot, but you are not fluent. This is the hardest part of the journey. This is the part where most people give up. They give up because they are frustrated. They feel they are not making progress. They are still trying to paint a masterpiece every time they open their mouths. Please, I am asking you, let go of that. Throw away the idea of perfection. Embrace the idea of progress. Your goal for today is not to be fluent. Your goal is to be 1% better than yesterday. Your goal is to learn one new thing, to practice for 5 minutes, to be brave for 10 seconds, and say hello to someone in English. That's it. Sarah had hundreds of bad paintings on cardboard before she painted her big canvas. You need to have hundreds of bad conversations. You need to make thousands of grammar mistakes. You need to mispronounce words 10,000 times. These are not failures. These are your lines and circles. These are your purple trees. This is the only way to learn. Every mistake is a brushstroke. Every time you listen, you are mixing colors. Every time you try to speak, you are putting paint on the canvas. So, do not be afraid of the mess. The mess is where the learning happens. The mess is where the growth is. That frustrated feeling you get? That is the feeling of your brain growing. That is the feeling of Sarah's arm getting tired after painting 100 lines. It's a good feeling. It means you are working. I want you to leave this session today with a new feeling. I want you to feel light. I want you to feel free. You are free from the prison of perfection. You have a new goal. Your goal is not to be perfect. Your goal is to show up. Your goal is to try. Your goal is to be 1% better, to learn and grow every single day. Look at how much you did today. You listened to a very long audio in English. You listened to a full story. You practiced comprehension. You learned new vocabulary. You practiced your pronunciation by repeating sentences. You practiced your detailed listening with a dictation. You did all of this. You made so much progress today. You should be so proud of yourself. This is what it looks like. This is the work. You didn't understand every word? Good. That means you are in the right place. You are being challenged. Your pronunciation wasn't perfect in the listen and repeat section? Fantastic. That means you are learning. You made spelling mistakes in the dictation? Wonderful. You were brave enough to try. This is the new mindset. Progress, not perfection. This is what we do here at English in Fluency. We are not a place for perfect English. We are a place for real English. We are a place for messy learning. We are a place to celebrate the small victories. We are a place to learn and grow every single day, together. Thank you so much for listening today. Thank you for spending this time with me, with Alex. Thank you for working on your English. You are doing a great job. Before you go, I have an assignment for you a Mr. Hedges assignment. It's very simple. I want you to think of one small, simple, messy thing you will do for your English progress, today or tomorrow, just one. Your one line or one circle. Maybe it's, I will listen to this story again. Maybe it's, I will teach one new word to a friend. Maybe it's, I will write one comment in English on a video. And that brings me to our call to action. I want to build a community of progress here. So, I have a question for you. Please go to the comments section below this video and tell me, what is your one simple thing? What is your English line painting assignment for today? It can be, I will listen for 10 minutes, or I will learn one word. Write it down, share it with us. Be brave. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be progress. And if you found this lesson helpful, if you like this way of learning, this idea of focusing on progress, please subscribe to our channel, English in Fluency. It helps us a lot, and it means you will not miss our next practice. We are on this journey together. My name is Alex. Thank you for being here. Remember to be kind to yourself. Be patient with your progress. And keep painting your canvas, one messy, beautiful, imperfect day at a time. I will see you in the next lesson. Goodbye for now.